Yo, what's good, everyone? It's Jackoatzdagoat with a chapter 212 review of Black Clover, and I was right. I was right.
Fuck off out of
Right. All right, I can't do the flock. So, but you guys, I was halfway right. I won't say I was completely right. I knew we'd be seeing Asta's demon. That was a big thing that had to happen in this arc, and we did. Man, I'm just glad this fight is over. Because, like I've been saying for the past two reviews, it's kind of been dragging, and we hadn't been getting any information or battle progression. And now we have the end, but there's also some really subtle things that happen in this chapter. But before we get super into this, please, if you haven't already, like, subscribe, follow me on Instagram. Please support the channel so your boy's channel can grow. And we're going to get more content. Just as a disclaimer, again, with this whole battle between YouTube and the manga creators and anime and whatnot, I won't be showing really much of anything, directly from the manga chapters. And I'm sorry, I know it makes it a little less interesting, but until this whole situation gets handled, I really don't want to risk it because people's channels are being taken down and whatnot. So it's just a big mess. So hopefully this gets resolved soon. But yeah, just as a forewarning for anyone who hasn't been watching this channel already. Now let's get into this because, again, your boy was right. This is actually the, I think, second and a half major thing I was right on. I say half because I wasn't all the way right about what was going to happen. But I don't think we're out of the woods yet. We'll get to that at the very end of what I'm going to say here on this review. So stick around, please. So what do we get? We get the demons meeting. That's the first big thing that happens. They're meeting in this space. This space that only they share, and it's a really solid picture of them. Conversing. It was really well drawn. I like the art style, and I just love the interaction between them. And there's something that kind of clears up the way we can look at devils, but kind of also leaves an element of mystery if we look at it from a different light. So there's one thing that Asta's demon says to Despair, and he says that he's greeting him as his senior. He says, "What's going on, my senior?" And this kind of goes back to what I was saying in the last review, that Asta's demon is either relatively new or Asta's demon is ancient. And that's why this demon doesn't know it. Now, there have been several instances throughout the past chapters where the demon Despair has kind of hinted at some sort of hierarchy amongst demons. And that's when he first addressed Asta's demon. He's like, "I don't know who you are, but know your place, in this whole pecking order." So, I mean, it could also be just Despair being super cocky, because what devil have we seen take over a body aside from Despair? I mean, I'd be cocky too. He's definitely the first one in 500 years. So I'm thinking it might have been more out of cockiness. I don't think there's an exact hierarchy, not that we've seen yet, at least. But that was said, so it could allude to there being a hierarchy. But if we don't take it as face value, and we take what Asta's demon said as referring to Despair's his senior, if we dive a little deeper, it could just be him antagonizing Despair because he kept gloating that he was this high on the totem pole and Asta's demon was here, and now he got defeated by Asta, and not even, someone like super worthy, if you will, to do that. So I kind of got a hint of just sarcasm and just really throwing salt on Despair's wound, and especially not telling him who he was. It's I think it was just a power move in that moment. So there's two ways we can take it. Asta's demon is new. If this is the case, it can mean something disastrous for the magic world, right? So if Despair didn't know Asta's demon before this, and there are new demons coming out that have anti-magic qualities like Asta does, then this is a huge problem. Especially when we don't have many people like we just saw that have magic to fight against demons directly. So that could be a huge issue. Now, if we go on the other side and say Asta's demon is ancient, and it's just that, you can't... Asta is, as far as we know at least, the first person to have no magic in their body, and that's the only body you can inhabit, then it would make sense as to why this demon did not know who Asta's demon was. So there's still an element of mystery, but if we take it at face value, we can say that Asta's demon is new. And like I said, that can be scary for its own reasons, because who knows what other five-leaf clovers there might actually be out there. So the next big moment that we have is the Yami x Sharla moment. So Sharla actually, she acknowledges Yami for the first time, like directly acknowledges him. And I think it's a bit of foreshadowing. I think they're setting us up for the future. It's really tough to say, but with other things going on, like we see Patri saying that there's still some things he's got to atone for, and I believe it's Ron who was saying that he's got some things that he needs to atone for as well. It doesn't seem like the elves are going anywhere, just by the way they're speaking. Like they have time to atone for their sins. So I'm wondering if, one, the elves stick around and the hosts are gone because of this reincarnation spell, and that would truly suck, because we would lose a lot of really good characters. But, I mean, replaced by very strong characters who will no doubt have the human races back. Or the next thing that I think is the more likely thing to happen is that these souls will lay dormant, just like we saw with Patri and Patri and Vengeance. I think we will see that they'll be able to summon that soul to help fight if they ever get into a jam. So, like, everyone's kind of got this ability, not every single person, but a lot of them do. So maybe that'll happen, but for sure it doesn't seem like they're going anywhere anytime soon. And while we're on it, let's just talk about Licht. Licht is full on revived, so will he be sticking around? I think it'd be very interesting if he does stick around, because they could definitely use his help and his knowledge, as well as Sekre. And I'm sure Sekre is going to be sticking around now that her seal is off and she's not going to be narrow. I think she's just going to join the Black Bulls, to be completely honest with you. But with Sekre and Licht, if they both stick around, a lot can happen, and mostly with Licht. For Asta's sake, Licht needs to stay around, and I've mentioned this in previous reviews as well. Licht has the answers as to how to use swords like the Demon Dweller sword and any other sword Asta has to its fullest potential, because those were his swords. So I'm I'm thinking they're going to keep him around at least for that reason, and also to let them know certain things that happened throughout history and things that the elves were going through, because that it was stated a few chapters ago, quite a few chapters ago actually, that there's information that was not translated over time through humans. It was just lost, and maybe just like a few people know of it, or no one knows of it. And I think Licht will shine a little light on everything that's going on with the world and the true state of it. So I think that'll be kind of cool. But that was a big thing that happens. It doesn't look like the elves are really going anywhere right now. The next big thing is that we have the captain of the Purple Orcas and the Grimoire dude, whose name is Revchi. I was struggling for his name in some of the reviews. But, you guys, we missed the crap out of the bigger storyline. There is something bigger happening. There's something coming out of the woodwork that we will probably now come to understand, because they're definitely going to press this dude for information. We remember in, what was it, episode 4, if you watch the anime? Well, maybe episode like 5 or 6. Whenever he gets, Yuno and us to get the grimoire. Revchi came to take Yuno's grimoire, and he said that there was a black market for grimoires. Now, this had us confused, and even Yuno at the time confused, because he said, even if you take my grimoire, you can't use it because it's not yours. Now, this is a bigger mystery. This is a smaller part of the mystery for a bigger picture, for a bigger mystery. We don't quite know all of the mechanics of a grimoire right now. We don't understand much about them, if anything, really. Only just what we see, and even some of the things that we see aren't that consistent. So, Revchi clearly had a plan to separate Yuno from his grimoire without Yuno's grimoire disintegrating at all. And he's clearly done this in the past, or else there would be no black market for it. So, he definitely knows and understands the secrets and the mechanics of grimoires that other people don't know. And like I said, this is probably due to information not being passed down in human history, but somehow Revchi knows this, and who knows who he's working for. These people could be of a different race, aside from elves and humans, and they know how to do this. It's all going to come together, and I think this is going to be the next big thing that they have to face. So the chapter ends with just Sekre and Lumiere. They're kind of just observing everyone coming back together, which is kind of cool, because then you have, it's just like good and evil coming together, but it was just a huge misunderstanding. The only two guys that, no one's really cool with are the captain of the Purple Orca and Revchi. Which I'm curious to see how Yuno takes to him, because that'll be the first time they see him. I think Yuno still owes him a good punch in the face. But Lumiere's like, wow, look at all these different magic users. Like, it must be a really peaceful time. And little does he know, it's not. They're not only at war with each other, but they're at war with places like the Diamond Kingdom, and who knows what's going on with the other kingdoms. If it's set up the way I think it's set up, they have two other kingdoms, the Heart and the Spade Kingdom, right? To worry about. So who knows what that relationship is like, but it's definitely not pretty between Clover and Diamond. So I wonder if he'll find out and how he's going to take it, and what he'll do to kind of instill a mindset of, coming together between everyone there. And that's how it ends. And they say, anyway, first things first, we're breaking out of here. And they show the door. And I can't help but feel like we're not out of the woods yet. And this is what I was saying in the beginning. I think they're going to get out. And once they do, Asta's demon is going to take over. You can't have like 3-ish, 4-ish panels of Asta's demon when the last time we saw him was in the fight against Ladros. And that was significant. But to show an insignificant little tidbit at the end of a fight, that's foreshadowing. It's not, okay, we got to do this because people can't forget about the demon. There's no way that that's all we're getting. There's no way. If you think so, you're crazy. You're crazy. Who knows? I might not be right. But, just for prediction's sake and for fun, like, do you guys think that Asta's demon will come out? Because if we think about all of the factors going into this, this is the most opportune time Asta's demon has. And he's not going to get an opportunity like this again for a long time. Fact of the matter is, remember that Despair was not really concerned with fighting anyone. He just wanted to get out. So, I'm assuming that Asta's demon wants the same thing. He just wants to get out of there. Now, it's not only the fact that, he's going to be out of that fortress. There's also the fact that Asta's extremely, extremely tired. Like, he's being carried by We haven't seen Asta this tired. Like I said in the last review, Asta has said to broken his limits about 4, maybe 5 times. And he's not looking good. Like, he's going to face some major physical repercussions for this. On top of Asta being extremely tired, everyone else is wiped out. No one else has much left in them, not even Lumiere. Lumiere's body's actually falling apart, which also makes this an opportune time for Asta's Devil to take over and maybe even escape. But all these pieces together concoct a perfect formula for Asta's demon to make his move. What move that's going to be, I have no idea, to be honest with you. There's still not a lot that's been said about demons. What their goals are, it's all still a mystery, as it should be, because it's a bigger picture that we're going to have to worry about now. And I've said it once, I'll say it again. Despair was just a means to an end. This was our first huge, huge villain that was supposed to just set a precedent. Like, all right, like, shit's changing, you guys. Now you're going to have to step up your game. Now you know how bad it can get. And, man, if you think we're not going to see some people leveling up after this, like, think about how many people felt weak against, elven boosts that other people were getting. And, the squad that was fighting this demon. Like, I am sure Yami's going to step up his game super hard because he wasn't in the fight. It was actually just Asta and, like 2 kids from some broke village handling this fight. So I'm sure Yami's going to not really feel like envy or anything, because that's not up Yami's alley, but he's going to want to make sure that he's able to protect people, and especially now that he knows that his magic does affect demons and not a lot of other people's magic does. He's going to level up. He kind of has to at this point. So, I mean, that's all I really have to talk about for this chapter. This chapter was amazing just for, like, an end of an arc. It had a lot of subtle nuances that you just had to pick up on your own. So that's kind of what I got. I think we're still going to see Asta's demon in the second chapter. This next chapter, in chapter 213. And I think he will take over, at least try to. And, yeah. Oh, before I sign out of here, what do you guys think is going to happen with... we have an issue with Golden Dawn and the Purple Orcas here. So, first things first, Golden Dawn, of course, were all kind of corrupted and targeted by the elves. And even though the elves ended up being good at the end, and it was just a huge misunderstanding, there's still going to have to be precautions set into place so that something like this doesn't happen again. And I'm wondering what those precautions will be, if there are any. And I'm also, oh man, oh my gosh, I'm sorry, I'm a little messed up at this end because this is not a part of my script. So I'm wondering if Patry, when he says he's got some things to atone for, it does show vengeance. However, he did kill Julius, and that was the human's saving grace, essentially. He is definitely shown to be by far the strongest one, even after all we've seen. Still one of the strongest ones, and his life was sacrificed because Patry was going to decimate the magic capital. So Julius sacrificed himself. So I'm wondering if Patry will bring him back, although I am convinced that Julius can bring himself back for reasons I still haven't explained, and I don't want to make this video too long. God, I need to get on that. But maybe we'll see it before I even say it. But to make a long story short, Julius is time magic, you guys. And it's one thing for his grimoire to disappear, but another thing for that mark on his forehead to disappear. That is definitely... that was foreshadowing to something, because no one mentioned anything about that mark, and the fact that it disappeared and they made a point to show us that mark disappearing means something. It means something. So what does it mean? It probably means that he's got some sort of failsafe for situations in which he would normally be dead. What conditions have to be met for him to come back? I don't know. I'm just taking a guess, just off of, writing style and whatnot and how they portray the story. I don't think Julius' story is over yet. I think he actually knew a lot of what was going on, but didn't quite have all the pieces of the puzzle together, and was put in a situation that he didn't foresee, of having to leave his guard open to save the entire capital. So there's that. There's that. Now onto the purple orcas. We started noticing that the purple orcas may have been corrupt for a very long time. Back when Zora gives his flashback to his dad, and he was caught in the line of fire. It made it seem like some guys really killed him on purpose, just because they didn't like him, and the fact that he was weaker than the rest of them. And then we have this captain of the Purple Orcas doing some pretty shady stuff with Revchi, nonetheless, which means he's involved in the black market, where all these grimoires are, and probably some different items that are dangerous in the wrong hands are. So I'm thinking there might be some ongoing investigation within the Purple Orca rank, and ultimately I'm thinking that if not both, at least one of those squads, the Golden Dawn or Purple Orca, will be disbanded. And I think the Purple Orcas might get disbanded just because of them not having a solid and clean record. So we'll see. But that's all I have, you guys. Like I said, this chapter is super dope. I'm glad we're off of this fight and we can get on into some cooler stuff. Tell me what you guys thought about this chapter. Leave in the comment section below. Remember, follow me on Instagram. I also have a Snapchat page where I do post exclusive things, because things I can't show on YouTube, I can put on Instagram and my Snapchat. Kind of leading towards Instagram and Snapchat right now. Might hug one or the other. But definitely add whatever you have so you can stay up to date with whenever I put up a video. You will be updated. But please subscribe to the channel. Let's hit 10 likes on this video. That's super easy. You guys have been so awesome about just being engaged here, and I'm super thankful for the little following I do have. So thank you guys. I truly do appreciate it. And that's all I got. It's Jackoatzdagoat. Out of here.